A few months ago, I was on Facebook and I saw that a friend had posted a picture of a book. And he wrote that he had just finished reading this book, and it was one of the books that was on his list of books that he had at home but had never gotten around to reading. And he was challenging himself to read through those lists of books. I saw it and I was inspired. Because we have a lot of books at home. Some of them I've read. Some of them I've started reading but haven't finished reading. And many of them that I haven't read at all. And these were all books that we bought because they were interesting. And every so often I'm at a bookshop and I'll see a book and it looks interesting and exciting. And before I'll buy it, I'll stop myself and I think, I've got so many books at home that I haven't yet read. I'm not going to buy this one right now. So it's the start of the summer and I thought it's a perfect opportunity. Shabbos is long. Shabbos afternoon, evening, after the kids have gone down and the house is quiet and there's no distractions of technology. It's a great time to challenge myself to sit down and read through books. And I thought, let's see how many books I can read over the summer. Maybe 2, 3, 4, who knows? A few weeks ago, I was mentioning to someone that I had just finished my 8th book that I was reading over the summer after I challenged myself. And she asked me a very insightful question. She said to me, do you see that you've changed as a result of reading all those books? And it really made me stop and think and even question to the point of, was it worthwhile to be reading so many books if I couldn't answer that question right away with a definite yes? Meanwhile, a number of other people asked me, how do you have the time to read that many books? To read 8 books over a period of a couple of months. Today, I saw something that I think answers both of these questions. Towards the end of Moshe's life, he knows that he's going to die. And he wants to make sure that the Jews are going to have a leader that's going to take over from Moshe, from Moses, and lead the Jewish people. So he goes to God and he asks God to appoint a leader. And Moshe thinks that it's going to be his son who's going to take over. But God says, no, it's going to be your student, Yehoshua, Joshua. Now, the question is, what made Joshua suitable to be his successor? This was the biggest job in the Jewish people, to take responsibility for taking over from our teacher Moses. What qualities of leadership did he have? What made him the person who was going to get this massive position? So the answer that we're given is a very, very strange answer, very intriguing. We're told that Joshua became the leader of the Jewish people because he was the one that set out the benches when people came to learn from Moshe. Which, when you think about this, if I was putting together a list of leadership qualities of what I would want to see in the next leader for the Jewish people, would it be someone who set out benches? I don't think that would have made it onto the list. The truth is, we see this concept over and over again in Judaism, that every small act has massive repercussions and is so greatly rewarded. Just another example. When Moses was about to go and fight the giant oak, he was worried. Why was he worried? Because 500 years earlier, Og had gone to Abraham and told him that his nephew was captured. Why did he do this? He did this because he was hoping that Abraham would go and fight for his nephew to be freed. And in that fight, he would get injured and killed, and then Og would be able to marry Sarah, Abraham's wife. Far, far from altruistic reasons, but nevertheless, Moses was worried because he knew that every small act has massive repercussions. And every small act, even if it's done for the wrong reasons, is rewarded greatly. And I thought back how I saw this in a small area in my own life when I started reading these books. The truth is, I didn't have time to read 11 books, but I had 5 minutes here, or time to read 3 pages, or a chapter there, or an hour there. And over time, those small little things added up to much, much bigger. But beyond that, on a deeper level, when my friend asked me, so have you changed because of it? I felt bad because I forgot this concept that every small piece of learning that we do, every small good deed that we do is worth millions. So even though I didn't necessarily at the time, I wasn't able to pinpoint and say, you know what, this is how I've changed because of it. The fact that I had spent those 5 minutes then, or the hour there, or whatever, that time, and learnt Torah with it, was worth millions. But what's also interesting, very fascinating, is that if my friend were to ask me that question today, I would give her a very, very different answer. Why? Because this past week, yesterday in fact, I finished reading my 11th book. Now, the 11th book, when I started reading it, I really wasn't sure I wanted to read it. It's not my usual style of reading. It's a Torah book, but not my usual style. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And yet, it is, of those 11 books, perhaps the one that impacted me the most greatly. So don't underestimate the value in the small things, whether it's the small smile that you give to someone who needs it, or the few minutes that you take to learn a piece of Torah, because those small things are worth millions, and you will be rewarded greatly for it. Wishing you a good Shabbos.